3 more added from the portal from Michigan State. They also get another assistant coach on that sidelines. And yes, the Michigan State basketball team up to number 16 in the poll. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans. It's your team in green and white 5 days a week. Please rate, review, subscribe, and if you're listening on YouTube, hey, comment below your favorite addition out of the transfer portal because Michigan State, yes, they're up to a smooth 15 additions out of the portal in this offseason. It has been buzzing for Jonathan Smith and company. Also, another member of the staff was added in the secondary, specifically a new safeties coach, who we will get to here in a little bit. And then ending things with those basketball Spartans still climbing the polls, ranked in January for the first time in 3 seasons. So without further ado, though, let's just kick it off with the newest additions to this football team. This happened over the weekend, and we don't got to go far to learn who this kid is. It is Evan Boyd out of East Lansing High School. Now, he did play his freshman season over at Central Michigan. Not sure if he has Connor Stallion's phone number like many other people up there, but hey, what he does have is a 6'3" frame. Okay, 21 catches, 302 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Mr. Boyd, again, in his true freshman season for the Chippewas. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Boyd? His name starts with an E, and he's from East Lansing. Well, yes, that is the brother of former offensive lineman Ethan Boyd, so the family ties are still running true at MSU here. Now, out of high school, Evan Boyd, 3-star kid, ranked, I believe it was 36th overall just in the state of Michigan. His only other offers, according to 24/7 Sports, Eastern Michigan and Navy, but strong enough to get on the field and almost 24 catches as a true freshman. So not a bad addition for Michigan State here. This is one of those plays where it might not be an instant impact guy, but 3 years of eligibility left, has already shown it at an FBS level in some capacity, and now your wide receiver room, well, it's starting to come to form because it was like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was just Nick Marsh standing there in the middle of the carpet wondering where did everyone go, because every single person that recorded a stat in the wide receiver room last year, they're gone. That was a bad whistle. Let's try that again. Yep, there we go. That's better. They are gone. All right, guys. It was just Marsh that recorded any stats returning. You saw Glover leave. Montori Foster, obviously, to graduation, just like Alante Brown and Isaiah Johnson. He's out of here. Jalen Smith. You get the point. Barren Wasteland, but now with the wide receiver room, you got Marsh. Of course, that's going to be your feature skill position guy of the whole offense. Omari Kelly out of Middle Tennessee State and Christian McCray. Those are your veterans right there. That is your presumed starters. Okay, and on your 2 deep, this is what you're starting to build right now. You already have your guys that you've had committed and in the program for 1 year, like Jalen Brown, Austin Clay, but including true freshmen coming in from Sandusky, Braylon Collier. Do I think he's going to put up Nick Marsh numbers in year 1? No, but I think that he could have an impact in year 1. No question about that. And now you also have Evan Boyd. So you're starting to build this wide receiver room right here. But that was not the only addition Michigan State had actually today on Monday. Aisea Moa, former top 400 recruit from BYU in the 2022 class. Now, he played linebacker over in Utah for the Cougars. This season, 16 tackles, 1 forced fumble. He had about 140-ish snaps is what we'll call it, and 103 of them at linebacker, middle linebacker to be specific. He was brought up to the line a few times to play stand-up edge, but primarily middle linebacker. And it doesn't hurt that Moa's brother, his younger brother, is a 4-star 2026 recruit as well, okay? And the Spartans recently offered him. So, hey, you know what? What's going to make that even sweeter? How about you just go ahead and join your brother over here? So I'm sure they got him just for more than that reason, of course, because this is what the linebacker room looks like right now. Over at your will linebacker, you still have Wayne Matthews. Darius Snow, he's coming back. He had a strong end to his season. Hopefully he can get even healthier this offseason, still traject in the right way, right? Now, middle linebacker, Brady Pretzloff, okay, former 4-star linebacker, depending on what recruiting site you look at. It was either high 3-star, low 4-star. Obviously, a kid that Joe Rossi and the staff are high on. this would still be his redshirt freshman season coming up, right? And Marcellus Polium was another guy that got a few reps at that middle linebacker position when Jordan Turner or Cal Halliday weren't on the field. But like, these are young guys, right, for a middle linebacker position. So you get someone that has been in college for 2 years already, and I think that's just what they wanted to plug right there, just that middle linebacker hole. I'm sure the starting position is still up for grabs, but throwing a veteran presence in there, just like they did with Jordan Turner last year, it can't hurt, right? And now at your strong side linebacker, you have Jordan Hall, Leonard Ayu. We'll see if he's going to be that strong side linebacker or more of a stand-up edge guy. Regardless, I'm sure he could play that role too. We'll see if you get anything out of Samaj Bridgman. That's, of course, the guy from Michigan. Entered college as a former four-star recruit himself. So we'll see if there's any juice in that orange right there. But, yeah, that's your linebacker room. And I think that's solid, especially with what you've lost. I mean, obviously, Cal Halliday, who has over 1,000 games of collegiate experience in his career, but more so Jordan Turner. He really had a strong season for the Spartans last year, and that's going to be a tough hole to fill. But, hey, you know what? Do it with the youth already in the program, and then bring over a guy that the staff is comfortable with because, hey, Moa was a guy that this staff recruited while they were all at Oregon State. Obviously picked BYU in the end, but they've liked him since day one, and now they actually have a chance to get him going. That was not the last commit, though, of the day. It was a two-pack of commits on this Monday. Evan Boyd was over the weekend, like we said. Mason Mini. That's right, M-I-N-I. That name kind of goes hard, actually. That's going to look good on the back of a jersey here. But redshirt freshman out of Idaho. That's right, Idaho, baby. We're going to the Big Sky Conference for this one. And 6 foot, sorry, I just lost my notes. 6'5", 240 pound. This is going to just add more depth to the tight end room. I am fascinated in this one right here. Let's go to the PFF numbers. If you use these guys, Pro Football Focus as a Bible, you're going to see the numbers 48.4 for his overall offensive rating. You're going to see his pass grade at 50.5, and then his pass blocking at 36.1. And maybe just like scratch your head a little bit. You think like, what is the end game with here, Mason Mini? But hey, I just don't take it from Pro Football Focus. If you want to use those as my words, don't take it from podcast hosts. If you think that the staff just go ahead and be trusted, sure. Again, like the tight end room is already doing okay. You of course have Jack Velling for next year. You have Brian Parachek to see if he can take any steps forward. Or also Michael Masunas, who that we know the staff has been high on. You saw it, well, just of course in the amount of run time he got last year in those first 4 games before he got hurt. But you also have, guys like Wyatt Hook, the guy that was the tight end guy for last year. Jaden Savory, he's coming in as a true freshman next year. So depth piece for Mason Mini. Go ahead and surprise this young man. But yeah, just to go a little further into the numbers here. Last year at Idaho, 292 snaps on offense there, 105 being those in passing plays, and then 170 of those in run blocking situations. So he does come here with experience, even though it's from an FCS level school, even though he is a redshirt freshman, still comes with over 300 snaps of experience. So there you have it for depth. Guys, we will be back. Going to talk basketball, but first we got to get to know this new secondary coach that was just added. But first, you need to talk your ears off about Game Time. That is right, guys. Now, with the new 12-team playoff, it gets a little interesting, right? Especially, just in the world of sports these days, but they are bringing fans together like never before. Game Time has a new feature called the Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Now, recently, I used Game Time Picks to find tickets for an upcoming game. Browsing through the deals was a breeze, and I found great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. The Super Deal in particular stood out as the best value for the event. I love that I could see the seat views before buying and that the app actually showed the total cost up front with no surprise fees at the checkout. One of my favorite parts about Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. It's last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Now, I'm sorry for forgetting to mention this at the top of the show, but I do just want to wish everyone listening a happy anniversary of January 6th, 2021, one of the greatest moments of all of our lives. And, of course, I'm talking about Kenneth Walker transferring to Michigan State. That was the official day that he moved from the Demon Deacons program to East Lansing, and then just about single-handedly took Michigan State to a Peach Bowl. So yes, I would be remiss if I did not bring that up. Of course, we all celebrated here. So happy January 6th. And would you look at that? It's January 6th on the calendar, and that's another Wake Forest person coming to Michigan State because, guys, James Adams, 16-year coaching veteran, most recently at Wake Forest, like I just said, their associate head coach. He just joined the Michigan State staff. Now, would you look at that? Now, this is part of his little profile that they put out on MSUSpartans.com. He's helped 2 Demon Deacons get selected in last year's NFL draft. Malik Mustafa in the 4th round to the 49ers. That was after a second-team All-ACC season. And then Sanusi Kane, he went to the Ravens in the 7th round. Now, just this year right now, Nick Anderson, he led the ACC with 122 tackles and 2 interceptions. He landed on the 3rd-team All-ACC team. So, you know what? I know we look at Wake Forest. We don't think like established programs, just great blue blood college. It was not a good year for them either. They went 4-8, but if you could look at one solid position group, well, dare I say it just might go ahead and just be that secondary, that safety position. So you got James Adams from that program. Now, of course, it's all going to be a waiting game to see how it pans out here in Big Ten country, whether it's developing guys, whether it's recruiting guys, but did want to point out 2 comments that I saw on Twitter here. Now, this is from Alan True of 24/7 Sports talking about the James Adams hire. And he said, quote, hearing really good reviews as a recruiter amongst my high school contacts. One called him a, quote, slam dunk and a, quote, future head coach. Not too shabby. That's the kind of reviews that you want to hear right there for an assistant coach you just hired. Now, Tony Siracusa, he also added in to Alan True's comments and said, covered Wake for the last 3 seasons. Will tell you that this is a terrific hire for Michigan State. The guy's a really hard worker, good communicator with his players, smart, young, up-and-coming coach. Media will like him also. Very straightforward answers from him. So, hey, you know what? Just don't take it from my mouth. Take it from the keyboard fingers of Mr. Alan True and then Tony Siracusa. They have talked with people and have experienced James Adams as being a positive influence on a football team. So we're all for that here, obviously. Again, let's see how it actually pans out. This is all the waiting game with new coaching hires, but hey, so far so good, I would say. Now, I do have to apologize for something that happened not too long ago, guys, because Michigan State, they got a quarterbacks coach from Oregon State, John Boyer. Okay, and I said, hey, well, that's the 10th assistant coach because, well, Coach Martin, he left. Like, that's your 10th assistant. You need to plug one more guy in. Guys, I apologize because I forgot that there is no more assistant coaching limits now. You can add, in theory, as many assistant coaches as you want. That actually just got changed this offseason. So I apologize for not seeing that when we talked about the Boyer hire. So we could even see another assistant coach hire here, or even 2 in the near future. Who is to say? But yeah, just want to clear that up. I totally forgot about that. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if that changes your life. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there and clean up the mess that I made the other day. All right, let's go to the basketball court right now and a few mailbag questions to end this show because, hey, our Michigan State Spartans, number 16 in the AP poll. Just like we said at the top of this show, this is the first time in 3 seasons that they are ranked in the month of January. Now, of course, last year they came into the season hot, and then completely fell on their face in the first few weeks of the season and then really had a hard time getting ranked from that point on. You guys get the story. It's being ranked at a relevant part of the season for the first time in a long time. Now, this didn't stop people from writing in questions at lockdownspartans@gmail.com or my Twitter at Sheehan_sports. And we field a lot of questions from Michigan State fans, of course, because, well, that's who normally watches this show, Michigan State fans. But we're all inclusive here. We'll take questions from Michigan fans. And there's one, namely, that really just loves this show, really loves writing questions about Michigan State. So we're going to go to Brad here. We're going to really well thought out, very sane sounding 3-pack of questions here. First one about basketball is, how bad is it for Michigan State basketball and their NCAA tournament resume that UNC won't even make the tournament? Okay, so right now, you got to just really look at the resume here. How bad is North Carolina? Is that a quad 4 win, a quad 3 win for Michigan State? Oh, no, it's actually still a quad 1 win because they're clinging on right now. They're about 47 or 46 in the net. They're top 50 in the net on a neutral site. Well, that's still quad 1. So At worst, that's going to be a quad 2 win. Don't see how that really hurts Michigan State's tournament resume, so we're off and rolling with a good question right there from our guy Brad. Question number 2, if you like that one, this one gets even better. Is Nebraska the best team this MSU basketball team has beat so far, and how objectively underwhelming is that? That's a good point. You do have to be a little underwhelmed by beating Nebraska, who, what are they, 6-6? That's right. They're 12-2 so far, and they're not just one of the best defenses in the conference. So far, they are one of the best defenses in the entire country. 6th in adjusted defensive efficiency. I'm not even going to try to explain that stat to you, Brad. Anyway, that means that they are a really, really good team. Now, hey, Michigan State, well, they beat Nebraska. Nebraska has played 14 games. Just 4 times this season, Nebraska's opponent has scored over 70 points. Hopefully that's elementary enough to understand how good Nebraska's defense is. Michigan State, well, they scored a little bit more than 70 on them. Something that doesn't happen a lot to Nebraska. They scored 89 on them. 89 on them. And that was with having the human victory cigar rotation in the game for the final 3 minutes. They could have hung at least 95, if not 100 on them, if they put the foot on the gas completely. So should we be underwhelmed beating a 12-2 team by almost 40 points and scoring 90 on them? Again, against a Nebraska team that, let's just throw a record aside, is 33 in the net, which is just 3 spots away from being another quad 1 win for Michigan State. Yeah, I would be underwhelmed by that, I guess. That makes a lot of sense here. And here we go. Best question for last. Again, making a lot of sense here. Should Michigan State basketball fans stop sunshine blowing? Yes or no, and why? Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea to stop sunshine blowing and just to not be happy about a team that's starting, 12-2 for Michigan State. That's right. 3-0 in Big Ten play, my notes also say. But no, I would still be a little disappointed. Even though you have a 7-game win streak going on, there's no reason to be smiling about that. It's just coming off of a solid road win in Columbus. That's a quad 1 win as well. We're using that word a lot today, quad 1 win. And that's when they were down. 1 point, 7 minutes to go. All momentum just got sucked out of the green and white jerseys. But, hey, they bit the floor, battened on the hatches, got a really good road win. But I still wouldn't be too happy about that, of course. That makes total sense. Top 40 in offensive and defensive efficiency. Okay, I mean, that's, I guess, okay. But, again, guys, you don't want to get too excited. Top 25 rebounding nationally, not just amongst Big Ten teams. Power 16 nationally of the 370-some teams, not too bad. But it's what really got us just had you upset is just seeing Jason Richardson become a star, right? Like Cohen Carr just growing his game. You're seeing that throughout the season so far. Jackson Kohler's been great. Jaden Akins playing consistent for the first time in his career. That's just gotta just put a knot in your stomach as a Michigan State fan, right? Or how about 38 bench points per game? That is 5th most in the nation. So, yeah, all these stats, all the things that we've seen, I don't see how you should be happy as a Michigan State fan. That's a good point from our Michigan fan, Brad, over here. So, sure. No, I would agree. It is a little silly to blow sunshine. 7-game win streak, 12-2. You're looking really strong, one of the better teams in the Big Ten. So, actually, for Michigan State fans, my advice would be just focus all your energy into being overly paranoid and publicly crying every single day about how good of a season your rival's having, instead of just enjoying your own team's success. So that's what I would do if I was a mentally sane Michigan State fan, I guess. I wouldn't focus on the maybe just 1 or 2 or 15 good things happening for my team. I would just become borderline an emotional train wreck about my rival. That's probably a really good way to handle things. All right, we got another actually sane basketball question here in a hot segment. First, from big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now, guys, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. It is as easy as that. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need to place live bets for same-game parlays, so much more. Guys, let's say, for example, you're like me, you're a Detroit Lion fan. You like their shot to go to the Super Bowl, which, by the way, as time of recording, co-favorites to win this thing. Oh, God, I'm starting to sweat right now. But, hey, just to even make the Super Bowl right now, they are plus 130 to win the NFC Championship. If you like that, mosey on over to America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, we're talking FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com right now to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That is at FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's hop back into the mix here now. Alex always writing in good questions whenever we crack open the mailbag here, so thanks again, Alex. He writes in order for Michigan State basketball to reach their ceiling this season, who is the one player you want to see improvement in? Also writes in to clarify, this does not account for growth from last season or off season. My answer is easy. And I guess there could be good honorable mentions, like maybe a little bit more out of Trey Holloman offensively. Shooting the basketball, Xavier Booker being more consistent. But right now, I just got to go to Frankie Fiddler. It's not to say he's having the worst season in a Michigan State jersey of all time, right, guys? But look, a highly coveted transfer recruit. You had to beat out some solid schools to get his services. And I get that he wasn't, prime Klay Thompson. This wasn't a guy that was going to come in here like Bryn Forbes out of Cleveland State and just shoot the ball at 45% from three. But right now, 6 of 37 from three. Yeah, that's 16%. That's not good. I wonder if Zeke the Wonder Dog could put up better shooting numbers than that. But that's after a season where he shot 37% at Omaha last year. He's also finishing at the rim on just 50% of shots. That's the lowest of his career. Now, this is what we mean when we say that he's not having the worst season of all time. He's still getting to the rim, still getting to the line a lot, and that's what we lauded him for as he came into Michigan State. It's that, oh my God, this guy would get to the line 7 times per game at Omaha. Michigan State hasn't seen anything like that since 2019. Yeah, he's still getting to the line a ton, and when he does get to the line, he is shooting 91% from the free throw stripe, and he is doing fine rebounding, nothing that's going to win him, an all-conference award by any means, but he's, fine at rebounding. But yeah, that's why I think it's all mental too. And I go to that shooting 91% from the stripe number because very often, it's not linear, but you can see a guy's free throw stats and also attribute them to the 3-point shooting stats too. If you're a shooter, you're a shooter. But when I see him shoot a three, I see a man pressing, I see a little bit of a hitch in some shots sometimes. So yeah, it's been a slow come around for a guy, Frankie Fiddler. I will say this, and we all know it by now, is again, we're 12-2, ranked number 16. Him having an underwhelming season so far isn't detrimental to the team. This team's still just doing fine with him. Struggling a little bit, but even his struggles, what does that mean? Just more minutes for Cohen Carr, who's just been a rock star so far this year. So, you do want to see him play better than he is right now. So if I did have to pick one, I would go with the older experienced guy who's really good at getting to the line, but can also make shots not from that charity stripe that's, 14, 15 feet away from the hoop. Just a more well-rounded offensive game here. I'm not saying that he's got to average, what was it at Omaha, whatever it was, 18, 19, 22 points a game, whatever it was. Just the occasional double-digit game would just be okay from us. But yeah, that's why I'm going to go with Frankie Fiddler, not to just dog on the kid completely. But that's been a slow come around. Again, not detrimental to the team. But yeah, as we get into this home stretch here of Big Ten play, I shouldn't say home stretch. We got 2 more full months of basketball, but you know what I mean. The hard part of your season, yeah, it'd be nice to see Frankie Fiddler step his game up a little bit. Jer Bear writes in as we continue with the mailbag. The Izzo Nightingale bromance. Best bromance since what, he writes in. Now, really quick, got to shout out the Michigan State men's hockey team. 4-3 overtime win at Wrigley Field. And also, hey, shout out Trey Augustine, another gold medal at World Juniors. Just doing fantastic work goaltending there for Team USA. Now, back to the question. The Izzo Nightingale bromance, best bromance since what? I'm so sorry, guys. It's just an easy answer, isn't it? Isn't it just Izzo and Mark D'Antonio? I like that. That's the duo right there. Or, you know what? If you want to go to Antonio, Pat Narduzzi, I'm not going to fight you on that. Those guys had some magic cooking here when they were here in East Lansing. Or if you want to go back to the basketball, Izzo and Cassius Winston. I would say anytime Izzo cries about a guy's senior night, I would say that they had a pretty good relationship, borderline bromance right there. So they made some magic happen too. Or if you want to step outside of East Lansing, you could do Xavier Simpson and the Ann Arbor Police Department for his fine work that he did at 3 a.m, wrapping Warren Manuel's car around a pole, and it's nothing to see here. That's okay. Everyone just go on your own merry way. Odell Brettham writes in, what changes would you make to ensure the optimal student section experience for football games happens? All right, guys. I got a radical change right now. I don't think everyone's ready for it, so I'm going to need everyone to take a deep breath here for what I would do to the student section right now. And we get questions like this often. I think we hit on the student section maybe 2-3 times a year, but today, on Monday, January 6th, this is my answer right here. Put that student section in the north end zone. That's right. Right now, it's sitting nice and comfortably in the southeast corner of the, if I'm doing my map correctly, southeast corner right now. Flip it over to the north. And here's why. For a while, maybe you've heard me say this before, I think between those two little, they're still massive, the two smaller scoreboards, in between those two, set up a paddock, like a nice little beer garden, a nice little social area for the fans out there. Why not make that a social area for the student section? Because look, I'm a diehard State fan. You're a diehard State fan by listening to this. By and large, the students aren't diehard fans. Sometimes, hey, people just go to be social. Something to do on a Friday, something to do on a Saturday. So just go ahead and give them that social area. So they're not leaving the game entirely. I know. It's radical. It's weird. I don't think it'll ever happen. But yeah, that's my first one right now. Now for them, it's sticking around in games. And we saw this for the Purdue game. They actually had a really strong showing in that late November game to see a not so great Michigan State team versus an even worse Purdue team. At halftime, see ya. It was like 8 rows of students back at the game right there. So what can you do to retain the student section for the full game, not have those pictures where, oh my God, it looks like there's 16 people here to end the game? First and foremost, I would have a good team, like a good football team to watch. I think that solves a lot of issues. But let's say there's for some reason that they're just okay again next year. I do wonder, would a second half giveaway move the needle? And I think Rutgers tried something like this a few years ago, that if you were in the stands during the opening kickoff and that was returned for a touchdown, that they were going to give, I think it was 10 fans, $10,000 in cash or something like that. They had a promotion to kind of drive students to the gate on time for kickoff. Maybe you do something like that for the second half. And the idea I came up with is, let's say you're still in the bleachers for the start of the second half. If the other team goes 3 and out in that first second half drive, well, we're going to go ahead and give 100 fans $300 in cash. That's right. Now, how do you do it? Do you use facial recognition to make sure everyone's still in the seats? Do you have everyone leave their phone number? I don't know. I'm not the production guy. I'm just the ideas guy. But yeah, if you want to retain someone, or I guess some students by the groups, maybe just roll something like that out for the second half here. So there we go. We're going to end the mailbag today, guys. We got a few more questions we're going to try to get to tomorrow. But hey, you know what? If you have any mailbag questions, no shortage of opportunities to get to those this week. Thank you all that wrote in. Again, Sheehan_sports or LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com. We will be back tomorrow, of course, because this is Locked On Spartans. You do this 5 days a week. Now take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go Green.